Next up in our ACC preview is the Boston College Eagles. And last year, Dalton, they were able to win their first bowl game in 7 years, winning the Fenway Bowl last year. But after that, their head coach, Jeff Hafley, left the program and became the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator. And now they have a new head coach in Bill O'Brien, former New England Patriots offensive coordinator, former Houston Texans head coach and general manager, former Penn State head coach as well. He is coming over to Boston College, and it's his first head coaching job since 2020 when he was the Houston Texans head coach. And he's kind of a quarterback whisperer, right? Did a great job with Christian Hackenberg at Penn State, worked with Tom Brady with the Patriots before as well. That kind of bodes well for Thomas Castellanos, man. Kind of really struggled as a passer this past season, but he is a really good runner, and that should be the biggest strength of this Boston College team.
For sure, that's what makes them dangerous when you watch them, when you're playing against them. You've got Castellanos as one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the country. Kai Robichaux in the backfield's a really physical runner. And now they bring in Treshaun Ward from Kansas State, who, he kind of lost the lead role to DJ Giddens last year down there in Manhattan, but still a really, really good player. They've got a three-headed rushing attack that's going to give a lot of teams problems, especially Castellanos.
Yeah, they had a top 25 run blocking grade last year, too, and brought back 3 starters on the offensive line. Now, of course, the 2 guys they lost were really good players, but they still have a decent offensive line next year, too. But the biggest weakness, Dalton, is, the rushing attack's great, sure. Are they going to be one-dimensional offensively, though? Because Castellanos last year, 57.7 passing grade, was 128th in the country, one of the highest, 15 highest turnover-worthy play rates as well. Also, the Eagles had one of the 10 worst receiving grades in the country as well. Now, they did add a couple projected starters at wide receiver in Duran Bradley and Jaden McGowan from the transfer portal, but they only combined for barely over 800 yards this past year. So Bill O'Brien, a lot of pressures on Bill O'Brien to come in and kind of fix this passing game, because last year Boston College really struggled to do anything throwing the ball last year.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned O'Brien as maybe the quarterback whisperer. Well, if he can whisper it with Thomas Castellanos, he could move way up the rankings when it comes to college football quarterbacks, because he really, really struggled, like you mentioned, across the board in the passing game. And it's kind of the opposite of a lot of other quarterbacks we talk about, Max, where, you talk about, guys that are uncomfortable moving off their spot. Well, Castellanos, look, he's only about 5'9", 5'10". When you watch him run, you kind of see shades of Kyler Murray. I'll be honest, he's that athletic and that explosive. He led the nation in explosive runs by a quarterback with 47, but last year at least, he looked a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket, right? He had 18 turnover-worthy plays when he didn't move off of his spot. That was tied for the most in the Power 5. So what you really have is a guy who needs to be more patient, needs to get more comfortable in the pocket. An explosive runner who sometimes relies on his athleticism too much to improvise in the passing game. If O'Brien makes him more productive from the pocket, he could easily be one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC.
Yeah, he's electricity, man, right? Like, he makes so many magical plays as a runner, but it's just the inconsistencies as a passer are maddening when you're watching his tape. One guy who's not inconsistent at all is Ozzie Trapilo, their offensive tackle, entering his 3rd year as Boston College's one of their starting tackles, his 2nd year as a right tackle, broke out last year as a redshirt junior, 3rd highest graded tackle in the ACC, earning a 75.8 grade last year. Really thrived as a pass blocker, didn't give up a sack all year, was 3rd in the ACC with a 3% pressure rate allowed as well. Also a pretty solid run blocker, was 7th in the conference with a 68.9 run blocking grade. Massive tackle, he's 6'8", and moves very well for a player of his stature as well. I'm a big fan of Ozzie Trapilo for Boston College.
And you should be. And look, this team they're built on the foundation of running and stopping the run. And a big-time guy who's going to stop the run is Donovan Aziroaku off the edge on their defensive line, man. Over the last 2 years, leads all edge players in run defense stops and is 2nd in run D grade, an 81.1 run D grade that was top 20 in the country last season. He's just one of these guys. He's not one of the, taller guys. He's only 6'2", but he's so physical, especially in the run game. And these are just the types of muddy players that Boston College wants to win ball games, right up there in that cold weather. You mentioned even the Fenway Bowl. I believe they beat, was it SMU in the pouring rain in that game, just out-physicaling them. These 2 guys that you mentioned in the trenches, they're just that's the identity of this team, right? And I know Castellanos is back there running around doing all these things, but at the end of the day, Boston College wants to run. They want to stop the run, and stopping the run starts with the Aziroaku.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of both those players. So, Dalton, obviously last year winning their first bowl game in 7 years, will they have more success with Bill O'Brien now as the head coach, or do you think there'd be a little bit of a step back for the Eagles this year?
I think he could kind of keep them afloat to where they were last year. I think the run game gives you a really high base, right? I think it's a little bit like Georgia Tech in the sense of we do have some questions about their defense, but they have the run game. They can look. You look at them even last year. You could argue they gave Florida State more problems than just about anybody during the regular season, right? With Castellanos running and what they can do in the design game and read option. Now you've got another back in Treshaun Ward that can spell Robichaux, and both guys should be really, really productive players. The X factor is Bill O'Brien and what he can bring to the passing game, because Castellanos fundamentally is just not the most sound passer yet. But he's young, he's got time, he's really athletic, and again, you do see like shades, and you're like, wow, that kind of looks like Kyler Murray. Now, again, I don't think he's got the arm of a Kyler Murray. I'm not saying that, but the things they should be able to do with him, I think O'Brien could figure out a way to get this team to another bowl game.
Yeah, I'm a little more pessimistic on them. I don't think they're making a bowl game this year. I'm looking at their schedule right now. It's pretty difficult. Seventh hardest in the ACC as of right now. They play Missouri as one of their non-con games. They play at Florida State in week 1. They play Louisville. They play North Carolina. They play SMU. Maybe a bowl game, maybe, but I don't know, man. I think they need a lot of improvement as a passer from Castellanos in order to do that. But they have a really good ground game, though, and they need some improvement on the defense. But yeah, I'm a little more pessimistic on Boston College right now. I'm gonna say they don't make a bowl game as of right now, but I think it's possible. But I'm gonna say they just missed out on making a bowl game. That's what we got for our preview, though, of the Boston College Eagles. Hey, thanks for watching the PFF College Football Show. Before I let you go, though, we have an unbelievable deal for you guys right now. If you use the code CFB25, you get 25% off your PFF Plus annual subscription. We've got the 2024 College Football Preview Guide that you can find over at pff.com, featuring the best players in the country from all 70 Power 5 teams, plus 10 Group of 5 teams that have the best chance at making the college football playoff as well. You can also gain access to NCAA premium stats for historical games, teams, and player tracking dating all the way back to 2014, so the last decade or so of college football. All the stats you can hope for, you can find in PFF Premium as well. Also, you can be the GM of your favorite NFL team with our unbelievable mock draft simulator, where you can draft up to 7 rounds of players for your NFL team. And if you want to dominate your fantasy league, you can do that as well using the best fantasy tools on the planet. All of that and more with your PFF Plus annual subscription, which you can find for 25% off right now with the code you can find in the description. Or if you want to go to subscribe.pff.com and use the code CFB25 at checkout. Again, you get 25% off your PFF Plus subscription. This won't last forever, so make sure you take advantage of it right now.